This is a great example of the low-angle shots used throughout the film. The low-angle shots are used to show how much power Kane has.
In this shot, we have a prime example of deep focus. There are three main plays in this shot: the mother signing a paper in the front, the father in the middle, and a young Kane in the background. Shots like these are interesting because they give the viewer options to look at different things going on in this. This screenshot displays the element of film noir. Citizen Kane is the quintessential example of a film noir film. To be classified as film noir, the movie needs to combine elements of low-key and high-contrast lighting.
Although Citizen Kane is a black and white movie, lighting is still a key element. For example, in this shot, the only light is coming from the back, which creates a silhouette on Mr. Kane which masks his identity.
In this shot, the dominant contrast is Mr. Kane. By drawing our eyes to Mr. Kane, we can see his facial expression. We realize there is obviously some tension between Mr. Kane and Jedediah. This is also evident because of their character proxemities. They're standing very far apart, which is unusual when two people interact.
Initially, this shot may not catch a viewer's eye, but when you analyze the two key components of the shot, which are Kane and the newspapers, you realize it has a much deeper meaning. The newspapers is how Kane built his empire, so him standing on top of a bunch of newspapers shows us how powerful he is and where his power derives from.
Low-key lighting is used to set the mood. It expresses Kane's present bitterness. The lighting helps us understand the process of Kane's life. The scene initially starts with an extreme close-up of the snow globe, making it seem that we were inside the environment itself. However, with the use of the zoom shot, the director plunges the audience out of the snow globe to enhance an ironic situation. This ironic situation is that this film goes through the journey attempting to find out what the word rosebud meant when Kane passed away. In this scene, this snow globe is shown, and the name refers to the sled, which symbolizes his childhood. In this scene, where Kane's mother is discussing on the custody of Kane, a pullback dolly shot is used as Kane's mother walks towards the camera in the house. This helps the audience focus on Kane's mother's facial expression, which helps the audience understand how sorrow the situation is. Her facial expression depicts sadness, but the only way she can provide a brighter future for Kane is if she introduces him to a higher social class.
What the director performs in this scene is quite comical. The scene suspends in the single shot the sled in the snow for a lengthy duration. Little did the audience know that this frame would explain the whole dilemma that is introduced in the film shortly after. The director uses a slow frame in this scene, where Kane whispers Rosebud right before he passes away. A slow frame is usually associated with tragedy. In this case, the scene is very tragic because Kane's last words, as we later find out, explain how he did not enjoy the man he grew up to be, preferring his low class and humble life he had as a child of his family. Setting the stage was important in the film in order for the viewer to understand where and when a new flashback was starting. Establishing shots are used in the film to show the setting. These are usually seen tilting from top to bottom to appeal to the viewer's eye. This is an image of setting the stage in the newspaper headquarters. Transitions are important in film in order to keep a fluidity between cuts. A jump cut is used as a technique to create a transition. As an example, a jump cut is used between this scene and the preceding one to keep the film engaging. This thematic montage is a series of different cuts that express the ideas of the marriage of Charles Foster Kane. As it progresses, their faces get more stern and up to the point where they don't speak much to each other, where both of them are seen reading newspapers. Wells uses the 180-degree rule here to film a conversation between Kane and Susan. Being behind this imaginary 180-degree line, cameras can film each face so that the conversation flows smoothly. Flashbacks are edited into Citizen Kane in order to put the story together. Without this editing technique, the movie could not have succeeded as well as it did in 1941 to investigate the death of Kane. Instead of narrating the past, flashbacks were used to keep the film much more interesting and engaging for the audience. A lengthy shot is a type of a frame shot that stays on the film screen for a long duration of time compared to normal frame shots. These are sometimes used by directors to give the audience a chance to analyze and understand the events they were previously exposed to. This shot is a prime example of the archetype. This shot shows his sled, otherwise known as Rosebud, for a long duration of time. Little do the audience know at this point, it symbolizes his whole life journey, basically. This is a screenshot of when the narrator explains the life of Kane very briefly. The narrator keeps the audience engaged by having a live voice, and as the audience is engaged, the director then can successfully deliver the information required to set up the plot. This is a screenshot of Kane's character when he just starts out as the publisher of the New York Inquirer. This film is implicit, meaning that the audience must infer the story for themselves as the story unfolds. The movie is mysterious in a way, where no character or scene spells out the moral of the story. Not a single human being would be able to understand the film if they do not sit through the whole thing. Compelling traits are used by directors to attract the audience's attention upon that character. This scene is one of the first where we see Kane's girlfriend starting to build up stress due to Kane's way of handling problems with as well. In this scene, she yells in anger at Kane, and that grasps our attention immediately, and certainly reinforces her role in the plot. This is important because Kane's tragic ending is concluded with an emotional event where she finally leaves Kane. In this scene, you can see Kane's mother making all the necessary decisions while Kane's father is just observing the situation from the back. This really shows that during this era, more women were able to express and implement their points, especially since this scene involved the custody of their son. Tone in this film refers to the manner of presentation. In this case, the tone is mysterious because the audience's main objective is to find out what Rosebud means, and they really don't know what to expect throughout the whole movie. This in turn makes the film very effective as the audience is naturally drawn into the plot and always engaged. The mood of the picnic scene is very happy because of the playful sounds the band is making, but the mood is instantly flipped as soon as Kane slaps Susan across the face. The music instantly stops and screams of agony begin to get louder. This scene ends using the instant change of mood through sounds, beginning with happiness and ending with pain. In this scene, Susan's voice is very echoed compared to Charles Foster Kane's voice in the grand room. This effect shows Susan's emptiness and lonesomeness, while Kane is accompanied by his collection of statues. Non-synchronous sound is a type of sound favored by most of the talented directors of the early sound era. In Citizen Kane, the music was the key to making the audience excited, but the actual scene is actually serious and intense. There is a lot of usage of montage in Citizen Kane, especially during the first 10 minutes where the narration takes place. Because the absence of additional media like clips and pictures would bore the audience, montage is used to keep the audience engaged.